It's one of the most exciting times of the year for cinephiles like myself, and that's when the lineup to the Cannes Film Festival gets announced. And I'm going to take you through each film that's in competition, the directors attached, and who's starring in it, and the synopsis of each film. So let's take a look at the first one. So this is called Fatherland, and this is by Paweł Pawlikowski. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but this is the guy who gave us Ida and Cold War. Both are meant to be very good films, and I'm ashamed to say that I haven't seen them. I think I watched about half an hour of Cold War, gave up, wasn't feeling the vibe. But apparently Ida and Cold War are very, very good films. And this new one, it explores Thomas Mann's post-war German life, his family's stand against Nazi rule, and their journey into exile. And it stars Sandra Hüller, and this is the first image that's been released of a film. It's got that signature black and white aesthetic to it that are in his other two films. I'm just curious, when was the last film he brought out? Okay, so Cold War was his last feature-length film. So nearly a decade. Am I excited for this one? I'm not sure. I haven't seen his other works, so I'm not feeling too much about this one. What's this one? La vie d'une femme. Gabrielle, a 50-year-old surgeon, is questioning herself about love, desire, aging, all against the backdrop of a hospital crisis when a novelist arrives to watch her work for a book she's writing. And this is directed by Charlene Bourgeois-Taquet. Nope, never heard of her. And I'm not too fussed about the synopsis. Don't recognise any of the cast here. No, don't care about this. What have we got next? La Bola Negra. Oh, well, I can't read that one because it's looks like it's in Spanish. But this is directed by Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo. Never heard of them. But is this right? It says it stars Glenn Close and Penelope Cruz. In the photos here, it doesn't look like that's the case. Let's go back to it though. Coward. This is the new film by Lucas Dont, and he brought out the 2022 film Close, which was about two young boys, and it ended in tragedy. I didn't see this one myself, but the cinematography was beautiful from what I saw of the trailer and images online. Apparently it was a very, very good film. This new film is about a Belgian soldier who struggles with cowardice and heroism in World War I trenches. And we've got a striking image there. Can't say I'm too excited about this because I haven't seen his other work. What's next? The Dreamed Adventure, a woman who agrees to deal to help an old acquaintance. She follows the hero on his adventure and enters dangerous territory where she is then confronted with her own desire. Vague. Directed by Valeska Grisabach. Nope, never heard of her. Synopsis sounds fairly interesting. Sudan. Two scholars exchange letters about chance and risk. As the philosopher falls ill, their academic correspondence evolves into intimate discussions about mortality, and a deeper connection forms between them. Well, immediately, that sounds like an interesting film. I'm really interested in philosophical films, and this is directed by Ryusuke Hamaguchi. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing these names right, but if I'm correct, this is the guy who brought us Drive My Car. That was a very, very popular film. I found it quite boring. But this stars Virginia Efira, great actress. No idea if I pronounced that name correctly. I'd give this a go, even though I have felt completely out of love of East Asian cinema. Used to be a big fan of East Asian horror cinema and genre cinema. Not into it anymore. Don't have any desire to see any films from this nation. But I'd give this a go, I think. What else do we have? Le Incuni. Photographer David Zimmerman rarely leaves home until friends bring him to a wild party. He becomes fixated on a mysterious woman and follows her. By dawn, his life transforms. He awakens in her body. That's interesting to read. I didn't finish writing it, but I wrote a screenplay that was based on a body swap. I'm not sure if he awakens in her body, I'm not sure whether that means she awakens in his body. But that's certainly what my script was about. It was basically making an art house version of Freaky Friday. Maybe that's the case here, but I'm excited by the synopsis and curious to see how that concept is executed. But I would also be looking forward to this because it's directed by Arthur Harari, who, what did he do again? He gave us the film that premiered at Cannes a few years back. It was called Another 10,000 Nights in the Jungle. That was a very, very good film. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I watched it at my local cinema at the time. It was about this Japanese soldier who was left in the jungle, presumed dead. He spent 10,000 nights there, hence the title of the film. I'd highly recommend that film. But what's also interesting about this filmmaker is he co-wrote Anatomy of a Fall, which was a fantastic screenplay. So this would be on the priority list if I was attending Cannes this year. Let's see what else we've got. I think this translates into The Beloved from memory. So this is by Rodrigo Sorogoyen. He gave us a film called The Beasts. I believe that was released in 2022. That also featured at Cannes. Didn't see the film. Apparently was very, very good though. But this film is about an acclaimed director who reunites with his estranged daughter, an unsuccessful actress, to shoot a film together, confronting their strained relationship and unresolved past issues that neither wants to address directly. Sounds a bit like Sentimental Value, doesn't it? This stars Javier Bardem. Yep, even though I haven't seen this filmmaker's previous works, I'd be interested in seeing this based on how good his previous work is from what other people have said. And then next up, we've got Moulin. So Jean Moulin unites French resistant fighters under de Gaulle's command after parachuting into occupied France. Captured and tortured by Gestapo chief Claude Barbie, his unwavering silence aids France's liberation. So this was very interesting to see because Laszlo Nemes just premiered a film at Venice last year called Orphan. I didn't bother going to see it because his film before that, Sunset, was awful. Thought it was boring. Found it very irritating. And it seems to be common consensus that the only decent film that this director has made is Son of Saul, or certainly he's never been able to top that film or reach the same level. So surprised to see he has a new film to premiere already. If I'm not mistaken, so Orphan, released last year, and Sunset was released in 2018. So there was a big gap there. But yeah, seems like we're going to get another film from him this year. Would I be going to see it? Probably not. Histories de la Nuit. In a quiet rural area, Begon, his wife Nora and daughter Ida live near artist Christina. As they plan Nora's 40th birthday party, mysterious strangers begin appearing in the village. Yep, that sounds like an intriguing synopsis. So this is brought to us by Leah Macias, is that? And she directed a film called The Five Devils, which I never saw, and it was distributed by Mubi here in the UK. Apparently it was okay. But what's also interesting about this filmmaker is she co-wrote Emilia Perez. I thought that was a fantastic film, unpopular opinion. I'd be going to check this out if I was going this year. Do you pronounce that Fjord or Ford? Who knows? An immigrant Romanian family living in Norway is subject to an investigation and faces the scrutiny of the local judicial system. So this is the new film by Christian Mungai. He did a fantastic film that won the Palme d'Or back in 2007 called 4 Months, 3 Weeks and 2 Days. And that was a film about an illegal abortion. Fantastic, incredible film. Despite my admirance of this filmmaker, I haven't seen any of his other films. Graduation's meant to be very good. He also did a film called RMN. That sounds very up my street. I just haven't invested in the time to explore his other work. But this seems to be his first English language film, starring Renee Reigns. Again, I'm terrible at these names. And Sebastian Stan. This could be another European art house director who is trying to appeal to America. A bit like what we saw with Yorgos Lanthimos. These two directors, they're nothing alike other than they're both from Europe. But very talented. And before they started making English language films, their films were only really known to those interested in cinema. And once they made films in the English language, other people got to witness their talents who possibly wouldn't engage with it beforehand if they carried on making films in their native homeland. This film would definitely be on my priority list. Very intriguing, sounds quite dark, up my alley. What's this? Notre Salute. In September 1940, Henry Marr arrives alone in Vichy as the newly formed regime of Marshal Pétain establishes its government. Hoping to secure a role in the shifting political landscape, he carries a manuscript he has written titled Notre Salute, a text he believes could help guide France towards renewal after its collapse. Moving through offices, cafes, and corridors of influence, Henry tries to persuade officials and intermediaries to read and support his ideas. As he struggles to gain recognition, his personal ambitions collide with the opportunities and uncertainty, blah, 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 blah. I'm getting bored reading that already. I've never heard of this person, Emmanuel Marr. Oh, yeah, so he directed this film called Zero Fucks Given. That's meant to be quite good. Starring Adele Akshpaloshus. Oh God, I'm terrible. It's embarrassing me trying to pronounce these names and getting them terribly wrong. No, I'm not bothered about this one. The Man I Love, and this is directed by Ira Sachs. He did a film called Passages, which was it was about this gay couple, if I'm not mistaken, who also bring a girl into their sexual relationship. I didn't finish watching the film. I got about an hour into it and I got a bit bored. It was very explicit. The sex scenes were very, very explicit. I believe you saw, Ben Winshaw and what's he called again? Let's have a look. Yeah, Franz Rogowski. They, and Ben Whishaw. They were full on having anal sex, and you can see the full thing. Very explicit. Anyways, let's go back to what film he's bringing to Cannes this year. The Man I Love. In 1980s New York City, an artist experiences a precious window between sickness and mortality, a time when beauty and love remain within reach. I think I've read elsewhere this is set in amid the AIDS crisis, and it stars Rami Malek and Rebecca Hall. I'd be going to check this out. Sounds interesting. What else have we got? Gentle Monster. Renowned pianist relocates with her family to the countryside where she uncovers a life-shattering truth that forces her to confront the complexities of love, trust, and deception. The countryside is an interesting place to confront these matters. Another screenplay of mine uses the countryside to explore difficult terrain for my characters. This is directed by Marie Kreutzer. She gave us an awful film. It was called Corsage. It was terrible. It was a terrible film. What was it about again? It was a fictional account of 1 year in the life of Empress Elizabeth of Austria. It was meant to be like this bad bitch film, starring Vicky Krieps. Terrible. It's one of them films that feels like it didn't justify why it exists. I hated it. Would I be going to see this? I'd probably have to see a trailer or something. Hope. This is the next film, Hope. A mysterious discovery is made on the outskirts of a remote harbour town. The residents find themselves in a desperate fight for survival against something they have never encountered before. This is directed by Na Hong-jin, and he gave us The Wailing, which admittedly I haven't seen, but it's meant to be terrifying. It seems to have survived the test of time in terms of recommendations. This film sounds dark. Again, East Asian cinema, but I'd be curious to check this out. Would I be excited to see it? No. Oh, but it stars Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander, who are married. And I believe this is the first film that they've appeared in together. Yeah. Very interested in that. What else have we got? Minotaur. A high-powered executive's meticulously controlled existence unravels when professional crisis, global chaos, and marital betrayal converge, pushing him towards a dangerous breaking point. And this is the new film by Andrei Zayginstev. This is a Russian filmmaker who, again, has brought us apparently works of cinematic geniuses that I haven't seen. Sorry, works of cinematic genius that I haven't seen. Leviathan, he brought us that. That was meant to be very good, but again, I haven't seen it. The Return was also meant to be very good, just haven't seen it. So I personally wouldn't be bothered about this. It's been a while since his last film. He released The Loveless in 2017. Might be a big deal for some. Nagi notes. Yuriko, an artist living in rural Nagi, is haunted by a former love affair she cannot bear to mourn. When Yuri, a recently separated architect, travels from Tokyo to visit her friend and former sister-in-law, both women find themselves at a crossroad, each searching for ways to let go of the past and define their identities. Yuri's brief escape from the city settles into a quiet confrontation of loss and probing for two women in Bukalog Nagi. God, that sounds fucking boring. It's directed by Koji Fukada. Haven't seen any of his films, but apparently this film was meant to be good. Apparently it was meant to be quite dark, but no, never seen it. Don't care to watch this one. Sheep in the Box. Set in the near future, Atone Komoto works as an architect. She is married to Ken Suk Komoto, who runs a construction company. The married couple decide to welcome a humanoid robot into their lives as their son. Okay, wow, that sounds interesting. It's directed by Hirokazu Kurita, who gave us a Palme d'Or winning film, Shoplifters. His last film was Monster, I think. Yeah. Apparently that was very good. I've seen Afterlife and Shoplifters. Did he do Afterlife? Yes, he did. He did. Yeah, again, yeah, I fell out of love with East Asian cinema, but this sounds very, very interesting. Um, Particularly the way which I've engaged with artificial intelligence. It's became um, quite a big part of my life. This is about a family who makes it a big part of their life. It's funny. Um, I I talk to Gemini um, like it's my friend, um, and ask it for advice. Helps me plan a lot. Helps me prevent from making mistakes. Um, so yeah, I'd say I have a close relationship with AI. I'd be checking this one out if I was going. Garance is a young actress, but not a star. She manages things as best she can, finding fuel and comfort in alcohol. She embarks for an 8-year journey of life changes. She drinks more and more until death seems to loom. Yeah, it sounds depressing, which is up my alley. Um, Stars this amazing actress again. Don't know who Jean Harry is. Never heard of her. But yeah, I'd give this a go. Yeah, never heard of her. Bit of Christmas, the new film by Pedro Almodovar. Um, I'm getting sick of films by Almodovar. Um, I almost felt when he released Pain and Glory, he would be going into retirement, but no, he didn't. Didn't see Parallel Mothers. Um, I did see The Room Next Door. I enjoyed that. Um, yeah, assisted dying is a topic that interests me. Um, it was a very sweet tale on the subject matter. A light tone runs through it, and it makes you feel warm, despite the darkness of the subject matter. But the emotion running through it was gentle. Yeah, I really liked that film. Don't think it was a film that deserved to win the Golden Lion at Venice, but again last year, Jim Jarmusch's Father, Mother, Sister, Brother won the Golden Lion, which was just, the standards seem to have dropped in terms of that award. Will I be going to see this? I haven't watched the trailer. I don't care about this. I don't care about new films by him. One of my favourite films is The Skin I Live In, directed by him. Great filmmaker. He's made wonderful films, Live Flesh, All About My Mother. Yeah, he's got an impressive catalogue of films, and I pretty much like all of them. I'm just sick. I don't need to watch new films by him. Um, and it looks like this one's going to be in Spanish, which isn't a problem. The fact that his last one was in the English language made things easier. Um, let's just have a look and see what this one is. What's the English title? Oh, no, the title's in Spanish. Well, I can't read that synopsis and I don't know who the filmmakers are, so fuck that one. Right, this is the film that I would be most excited to see. This is top of the priority list. It's the new film by Asghar Farhadi, and it's called Parallel Tales. Asghar Farhadi is one of the best directors living and still working today. He's an Iranian filmmaker. He made a great film called A Separation, The Past, A Hero. He also did a film called Everybody Knows. That film was Spanish, starring Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem. Not his best. It was good, but it wasn't hitting the wow factor that was certainly brought by A Separation in The Past. I remember watching The Past, and The Past is a French language film. I remember watching that and thinking, wow, this is the height of cinema. But I must admit, I can't remember what the plot is, which maybe means it's not as good as I thought it was, even though the experience was exhilarating. A Separation, that's probably his best film. Yeah, I think that won the Golden Bear at Berlin Film Festival. Incredible film, and A Hero was good as well. What this director does, he takes he tackles complex situations on morality and uses the characters to navigate their way through it, and also his technical precision is on point. Amazing. But this film is going to be is another French film that he's going to make. Again, starring this great actress, Vincent Cassel, and Isabelle Huppert, who is the second best actress alive. Amazing. So I was hyped about this film months ago because apparently it was going to be based on the 2015 terror attack that was committed in Paris, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 people died. It was a historic terror attack. I'm very interested in films that take on terror attacks. But it's a bit disappointing. Apparently it's not going to be that at all. There's no official synopsis has been released, apparently. But I saw this article on World of Real, and I'll just take you through it. So we had zero plot details about Asghar Farhadi's Parallel Tales, which is practically a Kinch for Cannes, with some whispers suggesting it might involve the 2015 Bataclan terrorist attack. That, however, has proven not to be true. In fact, Parallel Tales is a remake of the late Krzysztof Kieślowski's Decalogue 6. Executive producer Maciej C. Musal was interviewed by GQ Poland and confirmed the story is a loose remake of the 6th Decalogue chapter. Kieślowski's collaborator Krzysztof Puszwicz is also attached as producer. The plan is to hire 9 directors to remake the 9 other chapters of the series, 2 of which are already in post-production. Parallel Tales will, of course, not be set in Poland, but in Paris, and it features an impressive French cast, including Isabelle Huppert, Virginia Efira, Vincent Cassel, Catherine Deneuve. Again, another great addition to the cast of this film. Pierre Niney and Adam Besser. Decalogue 6 is the sixth episode of Tarkovsky's landmark 1989-90 television series Decalogue, which is loosely based on the Ten Commandments. The story seemingly being tackled by Farhadi centers on a young man who becomes infatuated with an older woman, leading him into a dangerous obsession. An extended 86-minute feature version of this film was later released, titled A Short Film About Love. In a January 2024 interview, Farhadi revealed that he would no longer make films in Iran, citing as an act of resistance against the country's repressive regime. Parallel Tales is his next step, and hopefully it fares better than his last non-Iranian film, Everybody Knows, which was in Spanish and starred Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz. Farhadi has previously made only one other film outside of Iran, The Past, in French, which I mentioned before. He is known for his powerful and emotionally intense Iranian dramas, including About Ellie, A Separation, A Salesman, and A Hero. I doubt this film will be bad. I doubt this film will even be mediocre. My guess is this is going to be fantastic. And I'd say out of all the films in the lineup so far, I'd be guessing that this was has a real shot at winning the Palme d'Or based on the talent that this film has behind it. Very, very excited to see this when it eventually plays elsewhere. That's all the films in competition. But one film that didn't make it in competition and people were shocked by is the new film by Nicholas Winding Refn called Her Private Hell. It's screening out of competition. I've never really been bothered by his films. I've seen The Neon Demon, Drive, and Only God Forgives. Yeah, don't really care too much about any of them films. What's the plot here? As a strange mist engulfs a futuristic metropolis and unleashes an elusive, deadly presence, a troubled young woman sets out in search of her father. In the course of her quest, her fate intersects with that of an American GI engaged in a desperate journey to pull his daughter out of hell. That latter part of the plot reminds me of Paul Schrader's Hardcore, which is a fantastic film. Doubt it's like this, though. Yeah, the plot sounds interesting. Yeah, maybe I'd catch it if I had spare time in my schedule, if I was attending. But not that bothered about this one. One thing to note is there was 21 competition films there. Apparently, the full lineup of Cannes hasn't been announced. That was the majority of the films. But James Gray's Paper Tigers was submitted, and the festival director is hoping that it can be added to the lineup shortly. That could be the film. Apparently there's a film that's yet to be announced, and when it does get announced, apparently everyone will be like, oh, of course that was meant to appear. And it might be that. It might be something else. So overall, what do I think of this lineup? Well, there's no American heavy hitters here. There's no Hollywood studio films here. It is a lineup that is heavily auteur focused, and that's not a bad thing. There's a strong East Asian presence, a strong French presence as well. East Asian cinema and European cinema have dominated the lineup. Am I blown away by the lineup? No, I'm not. Am I blown away by some of the films that are in the lineup? Yeah, only one, Oscar for Hardy's new film. I'm not particularly excited about any of the others. Whether that we'll have to see. This could, even though I'm not particularly excited about the current lineup, that doesn't mean that it'll be a shit lineup. The quality of these films might be outstanding. We don't know yet. There was rumours that maybe Ruben Östlund's new film, The Entertainment System is Down, might be hitting Cannes. Lars von Trier has a new film in production. There's no films that make me think, wow, I need to buy a plane ticket and go to Cannes, or I have a burning jealousy of anyone else who's going. But I'll be intrigued to see and follow the critics who are attending the festival and what they make of this lineup. I was excited by last year's Cannes lineup. There was a lot of interesting films on that lineup. Julia Ducournau's Alpha was on there. That film ended up being very disappointing. But I was very envious of people that were going last year. Ari Aster's Eddington, again, sounded very interesting. It was the most interesting film of last year. I rewarded that title, but the film wasn't great. It wasn't spectacular. It was good, just nothing groundbreaking. Sentimental value. I didn't feel that I was connected to the emotion that film was trying to communicate. The Secret Agent played last year. Yeah, it was good, but I wasn't blown away by it. What else was there? I feel like I'm missing something else. But I do remember looking at the lineup last year and thinking, wow, this is a fucking heavy hitting lineup. To me, this isn't that lineup. But let's wait and see what else is announced. And if Farhadi wins, if he wins the Palme d'Or with Parallel Tales, that'll be my most anticipated film of the year.